Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling the invisible enemies that have shaped our entire history, viruses. We're going to look at how these tiny hijackers operate, and, more importantly, how we finally developed a class of medicines, antivirals, that lets us fight back. All right, let's just jump right in with a big question. What do you think is the single deadliest killer in all of human history? I mean, your mind probably goes to big things, right? Like wars, or maybe famines? Well, turns out the real answer is a whole lot smaller.
Yeah, it's been pandemics all along. Now, the Black Death, that was actually bacterial, but look at the others. Smallpox in the New World, the 1918 Spanish flu, which might have killed up to 100 million people. And then, of course, COVID-19, with estimates hitting close to 17 million. These aren't just numbers. These are world-changing events, all caused by viruses. So, if we're going to understand how we fight back, we first have to understand the enemy itself. What exactly is a virus? How can something so incredibly tiny cause so much chaos?
Okay, so think of a virus as the ultimate biological hijacker. It's not even really a full cell. It's just a tiny little capsule with some genetic instructions inside. And here's the kicker. It can't reproduce on its own. It has to invade one of our living cells and basically reprogram it to become a factory that just churns out more and more copies of the virus.
And that brings up a really important point. There's a difference between being infected and being sick. See, infection is just step one. That's the virus getting into your body and starting to make copies. The disease part? That's what happens when all those new viruses start damaging your cells and you actually start feeling the symptoms. Now, this is absolutely critical to understand. Viruses are not bacteria. They're totally different things. Bacteria are tiny, single-celled organisms that can live and reproduce all on their own. Viruses, like we said, are just hijackers. And this is exactly why you can't use antibiotics to treat the flu or a cold. Antibiotics are designed to kill bacteria. Taking them for a virus is like bringing a hammer to a software problem. It's just the wrong tool for the job. So with antibiotics totally useless against viruses, science was at a crossroads. We needed a whole new playbook, a completely new type of weapon, and that need sparked a revolution in medicine, the creation of antivirals. And this is what an antiviral is. It's a prescription medicine designed specifically to help your body fight off a virus. It's not always about killing the virus outright. Instead, think of it as, well, calling in reinforcements for your immune system. They interfere with that whole hijacking process we talked about, giving your body a chance to win the fight. And this really gets to the core of why these drugs are so important. There's a great quote from Jennifer Nuzzo at Brown University, who points out that a virus doesn't have to be super deadly to cause a massive amount of chaos. If it spreads easily, that's enough to bring everything to a halt. Antivirals are one of our best tools to push back against that, to make you less sick for a shorter amount of time and help slow down the spread. So how do they actually work? Well, they have a few clever tricks up their sleeve. First, some of them act like a bouncer at a club. They literally block the virus from getting into your healthy cells in the first place. Others might boost your own immune system, giving it a bit of an extra punch. And a really common strategy is to get inside the cell and just sabotage the virus's copy machines so it can't reproduce. The end goal is always the same: lower the amount of virus in your body. Okay, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. Timing is everything. With most antivirals, the clock starts ticking the second you start feeling symptoms. For them to work best, you really got to start taking them within the first day or two. If you do that, you're not just getting better faster, you're also likely to have a much milder illness.
All right, let's move on and take a look at our modern arsenal. How are these drugs actually being used today against some of the viruses we all know and some we definitely fear? Because really, their impact has been huge.
I mean, look at this list. Today, doctors use antivirals for so many different things. You've got the common stuff like the flu and COVID-19, but then you also have really serious life-threatening viruses like HIV, hepatitis, Ebola, and even Mpox. It's a pretty wide-ranging toolkit. And this brings up another key distinction in how we use them. Sometimes the goal is to completely wipe the virus out. Think about the flu. You take the pills for a few days and the virus is gone. But for other viruses like HIV or herpes, we can't eliminate them completely. So the goal becomes management. The antivirals keep the virus suppressed, almost inactive, so you don't have symptoms, but that often means taking medication for life. Let's take the flu as a perfect example.
you can really see how sophisticated our options have gotten. You've got your standard pill or liquid, like Tamiflu, which can be given to babies as young as 2 weeks old. Then there's an inhaled powder, an IV drip for more serious cases, and even a single-dose pill called Zofluza. We have a whole range of tools just for this one virus. And the impact of this? It's been absolutely unbelievably life-altering. You just have to look at HIV. What was once basically a death sentence has now become a manageable chronic condition for millions of people. I mean, look at that number, a 47% drop in AIDS-related deaths since 2010. That's all thanks to having widespread access to these drugs. It's just incredible.
But as amazing as all these breakthroughs are, the fight is, well, it's far from over. This is a constant, evolving battle. And in some ways, our very success has created new challenges, all while the threat of the next pandemic feels closer than ever.
So what's the first big challenge? It's something called antiviral resistance, and it works a lot like antibiotic resistance. See, every time you skip a dose or you stop your treatment too early, you give the virus a chance to adapt and mutate. And over time, it can learn to outsmart the drug, making that medicine totally useless. That's a huge problem.
And while that's happening, the pandemics themselves are just coming faster. Think about it. In just the last 20 years or so, we've had SARS, H1N1, MERS, Ebola, Zika, and COVID-19. I mean, the pace is picking up. And with things like global travel and climate change, the conditions are just perfect for new viruses to pop up and spread like wildfire. So this all leads to one final, really urgent question, right? We have these incredible weapons. We have this amazing science. But are we actually ready? In a world where the next threat is always just around the corner and the pace is only getting faster, are we really, truly prepared for the next enemy?